All right, so today I wanted to talk about some different styles of ignition systems. I've lined up three vehicles, all with different styles, but very similar. Um, so we are going to start out with our 1999 Acura TL, which has a 3.2 liter V6. We also have our 2000 Buick LeSabre with a 3.8 liter V6 and a 2007 Dodge Grand Caravan with a 3.6 liter V6. Okay, so the first system we're going to be talking about is the Acura TL. So it uses a coil-on plug system, meaning that for each cylinder, it has its own ignition coil on top of the spark plugs. So this is going to be one of the more common ignition system types that we see nowadays, as far as being able to adjust your timing and having control over your vehicle. This is going to be one of the easiest. Some of the other benefits of it is that it can also reduce emissions, which is huge nowadays. And also it eliminates the need for spark plug wires, so doing maintenance is a little bit easier and less costly. Another thing I liked about this vehicle is that on the sticker under the hood, you can actually see that it includes the spark plug gap, which is nice, so you don't have to do any second guessing, and you're sure that you are getting the correct gap that is factory recommended. Next car I wanted to talk about was our Buick Lucerne. This is a 3.8 liter 2000 year. So this uses one singular ignition coil or ignition control module, sorry, which actually sends out a signal to all the different cylinders. The difference between this and the coil on plug is coil on plug. Each ignition coil has its own ignition control module, which allows for a better, more controlled ignition timing. So something you're going to see here in this picture in the left, you can see that there is three ignition coils. Each share two cylinders, and they're labeled, which is going to be helpful for diagnosing this car, but it is important that you do not mix these wires up. All right, on to our 2007 Dodge Grand Caravan with a 3.8 liter V6. So this is also relatively the same. It features a singular ignition coil. However, it distributes to each cylinder the same. You may notice that it looks a little bit different, but it is doing pretty much the exact same job. If you take a look at this wiring diagram, you'll see there's the ignition coil, and it is going to the ECM with the different outputs, and then also it shares a common ground with the fuel injectors. Okay, so what you're looking at is the engine bay of a 2006 Toyota Corolla. It also features a coil on plug ignition system, and I'm going to remove the ignition coil and the spark plug, and I'll show you what you need to do it. Okay, so if you're looking to replace your spark plugs, you need a pretty basic set of hand tools. I fortunately have a nice set of spark plug sockets, so it's magnetic and it picks it up with it, but you can also just use a magnet. So I used a 1/4-inch ratchet with a 10mm socket and a 3/8 to break the spark plug loose. After about 2 minutes, I got both the spark plug and ignition coil out. And here's a close-up of the spark plug just so you can actually see the condition of it. As you can see, the spark plug's in fairly good condition. You can see that it's a little black on the tip, but that's just because these vehicles typically don't move as they're sitting in a lab, so they're just constantly running idling. So while you have the spark plug out, if you really wanted to, you could check the spark plug gap either using a specific tool or a set of feeler gauges will work. Just be careful that you don't damage the tip. Another thing that's pretty important is also make sure that you're not over tightening or not tightening the spark plug enough. So always look up your torque specification because it is crucial that you have this at a proper torque spec. Okay, so I ended up moving over to a 2018 Hyundai Santa Fe just to do a little waveform testing and show you what that can look like. Alright, so I've backprobed into ignition coil here. Cylinder 1 is hooked up to our picoscope. And our picoscope, this is what we're getting. And I'll get a ruler set up here in a second and take a picture.